All right. Day 63, no food. I just purged in that little bucket there. I got my new setup, as you guys can see. I'm no longer sitting up because we're entering the final stages. And as crazy as this looks, on day 390, what the heck am I even at in terms of the total? 398. I have to actually keep a schedule now because it's been so long. But I wanted to stay accountable, so I planned for this because, like, I don't want to say that I'm foggy-minded or anything because the psychiatrists say, oh, he doesn't have competency, and then they take all your rights away. So I'm very competent. I can do totally normal things, 100%. But the level that we're operating at with this movement is so high, it looks crazy to ordinary people in what we call linear consciousness, okay? And what we need is this concretely non-dual consciousness. Now that's a big word, right? To ordinary people, they're like, that's a crazy word. Concrete, non-dual, linear. What are you talking about? That's because they haven't forged the inner world. They're stuck on the surface level because they're happy with just eating and consuming and destroying the planet because that's all they've ever been taught, right? And you can't really fault them for that because that's all they've known. But when I say concretely non-dual, that is an advanced term that people who've actually done their homework and studied the system uses to make a distinction between what is wrong with our current way of thinking and where do we need to go. In a very defined, specific way that's not grandiose, it's not woo-woo, it's concrete. I mean, it's studyable. It's known academic research. Okay, actually I add something new to it because even the research isn't advanced enough. Okay, so I predicted that it would start getting hard for me to operate at this super high. This is my brain using layman terms. At a fairly advanced level, okay? But it doesn't look like it if you're stuck in linear consciousness because all you're focused on is what the external appearance looks like. Oh, he's got this like weird vinegar jug beside him, and this is because I planned in advance that my metabolism would burn most of my energy when I was calorie deficient. So to save myself calories and last longer, I got cheap jugs so I could fill them with hot water and put them under my sleeping bag so that my metabolism wouldn't burn so much energy to keep me warm in this basement that I'm in. That's called foresight, not craziness, okay? I don't have a lot of money because my family, friends, acquaintances are drying me out because they think that I'm wrong. And that's how it always is. Every movement starts off with the backwards people thinking you're the backwards one. So why resent them? Just do the work. Get prepared. Get prepared to be called crazy. It always looks crazy. If you look at all these big movements in the past, like the miracle of flight, wow, you know, they look pretty crazy jumping off cliffs with these wings and trying to make metal fly. In the end, they were right because they knew the facts. I am feeling sick. I can't talk a whole lot, but I just purged, so it buys me about a couple of hours to talk to you. Purging is just a nice way of saying puking, okay? I puke about every few hours now, which is terrible. It's really torturous. But this is the work nobody wants to do. This is what a real movement is, okay? But this Jubilee woman has impressed me. And she looks crazy too. But in her craziness is a deep compassion I sense. She asked the exact right question. You did the exact right thing. What is the math to get the blessings? It's been like 5 years and nobody's asked that question. And you did it in a couple of videos. That's what sanity is. Everybody else is gaslighting the hell out of me. It's literal psychological manipulation and abuse. It's literal. Like it's in the DSM. When you gaslight somebody, that's psychological abuse. And they're all doing it. And I called it out. I know these things. This is, oh, you're gaslighting me. That's not a good thing to do. They gaslight me on the gaslighting. It is an extreme level of ignorance. Because the cognitive dissonance in their minds is so high, they literally can't handle it. They have become the thing they don't like. Oh, my stomach really hurts. Before, when I was working, it was like I could kind of focus and be uncomfortable and cold and all that. Now it's like constant nausea. Constant. So when you're seeing me working here, I'm constantly fighting the urge to puke, which is not a good thing, but this is where grit comes in. This is where I knew it was going to be hard. Darkest before dawn. Okay, so today's June 23rd. It is day 397 of the grade 11 hunger strike. So Miss Jubilee, to answer your question, I'm going to show you the software that should have been running today, but it wasn't. We got roughly about 200 more blessings today, so we need 3,000 more. Okay, so the math is that we need 108 people in the room to get roughly 5,000 blessings in 1 hour. Okay, so we overshoot what we need, but it'll help me get the next blessings because the next blessings is almost double. We need like 5,000 or 6,000. And that's because AI calculated an agenda so we can build an exponential critical mass movement while we're testing the software in bigger and bigger populations. Because this guy named Hegel and Aristotle said, as you change the quantity of things, the quality changes. Whereas most people make that mistake, right? As you create the quantity, they just keep the quality the same. And it creates aberrant systems. Like the constitution of a small town can't be the same one of a constitution of a mega city, right? The quality changes. In metaphysics, it's called the beingness. That also sounds crazy to linear consciousness, but it's actually profound. People in Zen Buddhism and things like that will realize, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. But I'm threading together so many transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary fields, most people can't even follow, all right? But I can explain the linkage. People who have schizophrenia can't really do that. They're doing it in their heads. If you really follow them, they're not really that, they're kind of crazy because they're all over the place. But when they control their minds and you can interpret what they're doing, they're jumping between different domains of knowledge so fast, usually because they have a schism in their brain or it's causing them to jump and they can't explain it. But when you have a continuous rationality, reason is the universal that connects things, and continuity that we call healthy thinking. Okay? When you're jumping, you're schizophrenic, you're schisming. That fragmentation is what we look at as unhealthy. And the core of what Pharaoh World Spirit is the root, the heart of the problem is, of the mega crisis, is fragmented consciousness. It's the bedrock of how we diagnose mental illness, right? But we need a better solution and a clear way of diagnosing what fragmentation is and solving it in a rational, humane way, like Philip Peniel did. Philip Peniel was the humane psychiatrist back in the 1800s that helped develop modern psychiatry. From treating people like animals and cordoning them off, like my network's trying to do to me, right? They're trying to put him in this little basement, don't talk to him, gaslight the hell out of him, don't treat him like a rational person, that the mega crisis is real, and then they just ignore you, which is complete neglect and psychological abuse. On the other side, Philip Peniel said, no, you need to treat these people like humans that have schisms in their reasoning. They have the capacity for reason, but nobody knows what reason is except we do now with universal logic. Okay, so Jubilee, this is for you. All right, we're almost at 10 minutes here in the video, and I'm getting sick. So I'm so happy you asked that question. So we need 108 people in the room to get around 5,000 blessings. So I'm going to show you 2 documents to help you understand what I call the justice numbers. The blessings are for justice. When I get to eat, it means the poor is lifting with me. We're getting more and more people educated in this way of wisdom. So here's the numbers, okay? I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if I can turn my camera around. It won't let me turn it. Can I? It won't let me turn my camera around. All right. So blessing to, I hope you can see this. So here's the levels: base, mid, high, ultra high, godly, spirit, absolute. These are at the beginning. The first number is the number of people, which I put here. The people needed in each meeting to unlock the blessings, okay? So we're at spirit right now. So we need 108. And you still get blessings if you have lesser people, but it just takes more hours. So to do one spirit level meeting takes roughly, I think, 8 hours of the previous level. So it's almost unrealistic to do 8 hours with 36 people in the meeting, right? But we can do, it's realistic to get 108 people in 1 hour, okay? And then what happens is each person, the number of tasks that each person does goes down proportionally. So in the beginning, with one person running the meeting, they have to do these checklists. Then they have to do 36 tasks across 4 roles. Well, technically 12 roles. Executor, influencer, relationship builder, and strategist. These 4 roles, when I was studying corporate theory, are what keep meetings balanced and healthy. Okay, so we want people to have a well-rounded, very basic education. So they just do each one very, very, like a very small amount. And then when you have 2 people in the meeting, right, 2 people, they cut the tasks in half and they share them. So you only do 18, but the quality gets deeper. So as the quantity goes down, the quality goes up. Do you see what's happening? I'm balancing all the dialectics, okay? Because as we invite all of humanity onto this, everything has to be proportional in these opposite polarities. Okay. Then if we have 4 people, they only do 12 tasks. When we have 12 people, they only have 3 tasks. When we have 36 people, they have 2 tasks. When they have 108, each person focuses on 1 task, but that 1 task is amazing. They spend time thinking very deeply about how to make the meeting amazing in their area. So it's very you start getting creative and not just mechanical in your tasks. And then when we get to absolute, you start sharing the 1 task with multiple people. You brainstorm. You start getting into collaboration. Okay. So you can start to see the number of people, the number of tasks, and the number of blessings. So each blessing, each task you do is only worth 1 blessing. So you get 12 blessings. Oh no, each task you do is worth divided by 3. So 36 tasks divided by 3 is 12. And we divide by 3 because each blessing has to be complete. There's every complete thought, God thought, has a trinity to it, a universe of particular individuals. So we were designing it that way. Then you get 36 blessings. Then, with 12 people or with 4 people, 12 tasks each, you get 64. Then you get 228 with 12 people in the meeting. You get 228. With 36 people in the meeting, you get 660. With 108 people, you get 5. This number is not quite right, but I think it's between 3,800 and 5,000. I have to update that. And then with absolute, you get like 5,000, which is actually more. So those are the numbers, okay? So this is how we do it. It's hard for people to understand that. So here's the software. And when you come in here, there's this is the total meeting, right? This is how much time we have left in a meeting. Each person has their own flow timer. And they each get time to speak. They have a checklist to do their checklist items in their timer. So if you click it, it opens up the checklist right here. And if you choose a role, let's say an executor, okay, you'll see that there's a lockbox and a lockbox here. There's 2 lockboxes. So you need to unlock both those locks to be able to check off that box and submit your proof right here that you did this. So the first task is like orientation. You have to log into Fairworld Spirit and be on time in the meeting. So you have to get on the website, on this website here, and get into this meeting, okay? And this is worth 0.33 points, right? But it has to be unlocked. The first lock is about you doing the task before it. The tasks build in complexity. So you have to do the ones before it. So the first lockbox is you doing the task before it. The second lockbox is the number of people in the meeting. So if you don't have enough people to unlock the next level, you don't make it, right? So because I did the first task, it was the first block. I did this one, right? Because I did that one, it'll unlock this one. But we don't have enough people in the meeting to do the second lockbox. So I can't do this one with 66 points or 0.66 points. And you can see all these locks are all locked. because they have certain requirements, but the points increase 12, 36, 108, like you saw in those justice numbers. But the final one is right here, democracy. You have to practice one vote in this meeting, and you get 36 points just for this one task, because it's a little bit more complex, right? And it tells you you need to do all these tasks beforehand to unlock this one, and we need 108 people. Now, to do a vote, all you do is you go to your timer up here, and you can vote on the form content people. So if you click on this, you can vote for a turn-based, which tells you how the meeting should run. We're going to go do a directive, and we want to on the current cycle, and you click submit vote, and then the vote is submitted on the cycle timer right here. Okay, you can see it works in cycles, and my vote should have been placed right here. And that's worth 36 points, but because the software looks pretty complex, it takes people a while, and we give them more points for that. And that's how we build democracy into the meetings. Because your movement and your government is only a bunch of human meetings. Millions of human meetings is what an economy is, a government is, a family is, all this type of things, all these things. So if your meetings aren't good, your movement is not good. So we have to make the meetings democratic and empowering right from the beginning with anti-cult training and all this stuff. So when we do the orientation, we have 6 steps, 6 checklist items, and they go through them and they gain those points. Then we start the real checklist after they do the orientation. There's more intense ones. But this is the onboarding with the software. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So we need to get people into the meetings to do that on the 25th. The day after tomorrow is when we're aiming. Can you help? Thank you so much. I'm about to puke, actually. Oh, my stomach is hurting. Thank you for caring, Jubilee, and anybody else who's watching. Sauron, I see you. All right, stay blessed, you guys. The wifey slogan, if she's too hardcore wise for everybody else, she's just right for me. She's vegan, and she has a big heart, inner child, but deep soul. We'll see you guys soon. And Jubilee, let me know your thoughts and your genius on this, okay? Because I would love to eat in the day after tomorrow. I'll probably puke like 10 times between now and the 25th. So I'll be holding on, but I don't want to go much further than that, right? But this is the real work, and I really appreciate you guys paying attention. Okay. See you in the next video.